To start your Beatbox project, we're going to import all the files. We start by going to File and Import. You could also push Ctrl+I on the keyboard. Now make sure that you have the files on your desktop. Everything's got to come from the desktop. I look through my files and there's at least two things that I want. One of them is a click track titled 120 or 130 or 140. Okay, it should have a number .wave. That's one of them. And I want to select one of the video files that we made in class. So M2U004 is one of them. And I'll grab this 706 one also. That's one that I made myself. Those import. The first thing I got to do is bring in the click track into the timeline. So I take 120, I grab it by the icon, and I drag it into the timeline here. Now if I click next to the audio, so it says audio, there's a little triangle here, this expands the view so I can see the waveform. The waveform on a click track should look like a bunch of lines. Now I'm ready to get some sounds. The process is very simple. What I need to do is I find a sound, I use the brackets to set the in and out point, and then I drag it in here, trim it up so it matches with the beat. So here I go. So here I am, and I make a big noise, and I'm using the jog bar to isolate where the sound begins. Right there. I use the bracket here to set the in point. Play the sound, stop it, and use the right bracket to isolate just that clip. Now I bring this video track into video track 1. I grab it right on the screen here in the preview monitor, drag it down to the timeline. There it is. I'm going to open up and expand the view on audio track 1 so I can see the waveform. And now I'm going to zoom in using the zoom in controls down at the bottom of the timeline track. Now here I see my waveform. I want the sound to start at the beginning of the left end of this track, this clip here. I'm going to take my mouse, drag in the left side to cut off all that excess at the front. There I go. Now the sound starts when the video track does. I'm going to slide this to the beginning. Now I want to make this sound 1 beat long, which is exactly the length of these two marks here. I'm going to bring my playhead forward to help me line this up. I bring my playhead so it matches up with that mark on the click track there. And I take my mouse and I drag this end back, cutting that off. There I have it. Now if I want to repeat this sound more times, I can right click on it, go to copy, and then paste. It's going to paste at the end of this line. I can paste using Control V or Edit and paste. I'm going to try Control V. Control V, Control V. Zoom in a little bit. Now I have my 4 sounds. And this is the beginning understanding of making your beatbox.